The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we've initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insights of various domains. The topic of today's session is Building Great Products. We expect the webinar to last for about an hour with 45 minutes of presentation and the remainder time for question and answer round. If you have any questions, please submit them using Questions tab in your control panel. Our guest speaker is Mohammed Sheikh. He's Agile Practice Leader at PayPal. Sheikh is an inspiring enterprise transformation leader, coach, technologist, trainer, and consultant with over 15 years of progressive and diversified experiences in technology organizations. His forte is making a material difference to the end-to-end technology product development by substantially lifting the capability of culture, leaders, teams, and practices. He is well equipped with unique game-changer approach in defining the enterprise transformation strategy, planning, execution, and continuous improvements. His passion is to help organizations to transform to nimble, to deliver innovative products and services, nurture high-performance teams, and eventually establish happy workplace and delight their customers. Problems Sheikh likes to solve are enterprise business and technology transformation, high-performing teams and culture, product management and development, and engineering excellence. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker today. Over to you, Sheikh.
Thank you, Deepika. Thank you, Deepika. Can you see me? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, thank you, Sheikh. We can see your screen.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Deepika, for the introduction. And big hello to everyone and happy afternoon or evening wherever you are. A warm welcome to my talk on building great products, how to strengthen the muscle. So, before we go into the presentation, I just wanted to call out a disclaimer. This talk is not based on any model, process, framework, or book. The knowledge I'm going to share through this talk is based out of my empirical learnings. And I want to keep this talk neutral to any process, methodology, framework, so that the audience could benefit from this talk unbiased without any process baggage. Regarding the scope of this talk, product development is a vast subject. There are quite a number of areas we need to master to deliver great products. To make this talk more focused and valuable so that you gain maximum value from your 60 minutes investment, I'm going to focus specifically on development flows. The genesis of this talk is tiny things does matter. They are equally powerful and influential. When I say things, I'm referring to practices, values, principles, and beliefs. So why I have chosen this topic? So there is some kind of, a little context I need to share with you. That is, most of the organization teams adopt industry-proven processes, methodologies to establish product excellency, and then try to optimize the development spaces. Almost all small to big consultancies in the specialized area have come up with frameworks, methodologies, processes. What we have observed in the process of mastering product excellency is that most of the organizations or teams focus on big, shiny things and ignore the small things. In my view, these small things are equally powerful and influential on the outcomes. So Now, what I mean by small things, that is what the crux of this whole talk. I'm going to share my learnings around these tiny things with a hope that the audience will benefit maximum out of this talk. So you may be wondering, what is in it for me? So I just wanted to give you some general, what are the takeaways from this talk? The general, the perception is in any organization, change or learning is very hard. The change could be around anything which we have been doing at our work or in our life. Here I would like to share a metaphor to demonstrate the learning process in adults and children. Human brains are like a pot or container, and an adult's brain is full of thoughts, beliefs, and these thoughts and beliefs make our mental models, which acts like filters for our learning system. Whereas a child's brain is mostly empty, hence the child's learning is easier when compared to adults. Then how can we make adults' learning easy? One of the best ways is to make or create some room and make our mental models relevant with the time, which will enable the unlearning and fresh learning in our learning system. So it's not only learning is very important, at the same time the bottom line is unlearning is also very, very important. So what it means is we need to constantly review our beliefs and value system to keep it relevant with the time and context. So as a change agent, my job is to influence people to change by unlearning. So my focus is to make people to unlearn rather than to learn. Once I'm successful in to unlearn, I don't have to put any effort on people's learning. It happens naturally. So my hope is that by the end of this talk, each one of you will generate some kind of a curiosity on these tiny things which would enable unlearning and then eventually lead to learning new things from this talk. So I want to share another a metaphor before we go into the main crux of the talk. So I've organized this talk based on a metaphor. So the metaphor is conscious effort we put on the amount of nutrients we take on a daily basis. So if you look at on this page, and then following are some of the observations you can notice on this one. First of all, these nutrients sound familiar. We know them, most of them, and these quantities are comparatively significant. And on a daily basis, we take these nutrients on a conscious basis. Because we believe these elements are beneficial not only from the health point of view, but also make our food delicious. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, if you look at on this slide, an interesting observation is slightly different from the previous page is that the quantities are much lesser, and these nutrients are, we don't put conscious effort to consume these things on a daily basis. So, as I said earlier, organizations and teams mostly focus on big things and miss the value from the tiny things. So today's my present talk is based on this metaphor. So if you want to build great products and then you want to build this muscle in your organization, on your team, we need to focus on these kind of, the things which I'm going to share are very influential and powerful. So before we go into that, let's put some light on what is a great product is all about. So great products are the key drivers for creating excitement among company customers, employees, and investors. And finally, it's financial success. At the same time, the challenge to create a successful product has fundamentally increased. Broader choice to customers than ever, global competition in every segment, less loyal and pickier customers, and complexity and required investment are steadily increasing. Great products require the best of product development, marketing, sales, and more intensive collaboration than ever. Great products are the results of cross-functional thinking and building bridges between technology and customer orientation. Embracing a holistic concept of end-to-end customer experiences, thinking about context, systems, and usage scenarios, implementing a superior engineering based on quantitative customer insight and systemic technical excellency. So I will try to simplify this thought process into two dimensions. One is the internal and the other one is the external perspective. So from the external perspective, this is very generic, definition. We know that customer satisfaction, retention, or likelihood to recommend. So these are some of the aspects we consider from the external point of view. And from the internal point of view, which is product development flow, which constitutes people, technology, and processes. Please pay attention here. This is what the whole crux of my talk. So an ideal system is a system to which you can easily change and test any feature. Meaning that the development should be delighted to take any product feature coming on their way and then say that yes, we can do it. The system should be easily modifiable, and that whatever the change we are making should be easily testable. So how often you heard or seen a situation like product team asking for a feature with a quicker turnaround time, and in response the technology team pushing it back saying, sorry, this can't be done either in the given time, or the system architecture cannot be extended to build this feature. And I have experienced this thing as being on the technology side, being on the product side, and being on the neutral side as well. So now the question is, can we build and maintain a system which is easier to change and test? Yes, we can, provided we focus on certain key aspects. Maybe we need to treat this capability as an organization muscle, and all the time we need to try to strengthen this muscle. So therefore, the scope of this present talk is a combination of certain key things from the external and internal perspective to strengthen the muscle. So why do organizations or teams fail in building great products? So I'll go through few dysfunctions, and then we will enter into the next topic. The first one being technology can solve anything, and it is not necessary to understand the problem. Let me share a story which has happened around 12 years earlier. I was working for my startup along with my friends. We were focusing on developing desktop application for small business. We had developed a desktop application based on a linear programming model, which is an optimization technique, to define an optimized feed formula for poultry farms. When we are done with the product and we went to our customers and we conducted a lot of roadshows and demos, and interestingly, we discovered so many aha moments in terms of the customer needs, customer maturity, usability, and then we could get the complete picture of the ecosystem of the poultry farmers industry. So as a technologist, we were so focused on technology and on the solution, and then forgetting about the problem without understanding the problem, and we were trying to solve the problem. We were coming up with a solution, and we were trying to fix the solution into the problem. And I have seen, like with, these kind of experiences, tons of experience in my experience I've seen that, where the organization's teams are just focusing on technology and forgetting about the problem what we are trying to solve. The next dysfunction, because of which we fail, is focus on productivity. In the recent past, what I observed is, what I have observed is, the focus of management is more on the efficiency rather than on the effectiveness. That's very dangerous thing to happen to any organization. You don't focus on the effectiveness. So let me define what do I mean by effectiveness, and then we can go ahead. So effectiveness is building the right products, and then the efficiency means building the products in a right way. So you cannot focus on efficiency. Based on, not just because of the efficiency, and if you miss the focus on effectiveness, then we're not going to get the benefit from the whole thing. And the next thing is lack of customer focus. So organizations, again, they absolutely miss the crux of the whole customer, and then the problem of what we are trying to solve the customer. And the next dysfunction I have is the infrastructure and engineering, which is poorly optimized. What I have seen again is in the recent past, there's no dearth of infrastructure. In fact, there has been a decent improvement in this area due to various reasons. Having tools and infra is one part, and the other part is optimizing of these resources is another thing. The key issue here is organization teams don't try to optimize holistically. Instead, they try to optimize locally. So the metaphor I use is you have a Ferrari car, but you're trying to drive it in your backyard. So you're not getting the value from the what you have. And then the other focus is, the quality. The quality versus quantity versus quality. So most of the leaders, again, the organization, they focus on quantity rather than the quality, and this also leads to the focus. The failure of the whole thing. And the other thing is, the next thing is the leadership priority. This is again a classical situation. Once the product initiative is kicked off on the leadership, it could be technology or product, they shift their focus onto the next shiny thing, leaving the current initiative just for periodical reviews. They think that their job is done now. Now it is the job of the team to finish the job. So that's again not a right approach. I think the leadership need to constantly help the teams in delivering great products. The next thing is I want to focus on is the decision making. This is really the decision making. The organizational, the decision making capability should be smooth, which will enable to solve the complex dependency problems. So otherwise, what will happen, even for a small feature, if you want to develop, there are a lot of dependencies, and if you don't have a proper mechanism of this thing, and then you're going to not going to get the value. And then the culture, the organizations are clueless what their cultures and strengths are and weaknesses are, and this is really again a key element which plays a major role in the organization's success. Now what I have done is I have classified my recommendations, or grouped into I was thinking for a long time, how do I share my learnings? Because I'm a big fan of keeping things short, sweet, and simple. And as I said, we need to strengthen the muscle of so that we deliver great products. So what I did is I have identified the key roles in the product development flow and came up with the tiny things that each of this role can fulfill to build or strengthen the muscle which will help the organizations or teams to deliver great products. So here are the roles which I have selected. One is the technology leadership, the other one is the product leadership, architect, and then user experience designer, and then development engineer, and then quality engineer. So I'm going to I'm going to take you through each one, and then if you are here, I want you to focus on if you are any of these roles, then think yourself, and also focus on the other roles, because when you encounter certain dysfunctions from the other roles, our job is to help them as well. So you need to educate the other roles in the entire development flow as well. So please pay attention. This is we're going to go through each role. Now I'll start with the leadership. Effective efficiency, as I said. So as I said, the technology leadership more focused on efficiency. But before that, let us focus what kind of workers are we? Basically we are knowledge workers. Our industry has adopted management skills from manufacturing industry. For example, in manufacturing industry, more focus is given on efficiency than on effectiveness. This model works for those industries as there is less uncertainty, and then the outcomes can be measured easily in the manufacturing industry. Whereas in our industry, where we treat ourselves as knowledge workers, which is full of uncertainty, and therefore we cannot apply the same principle here. So we need to focus on effectiveness first, then on the efficiency. So therefore the leadership need to focus on the outcomes. So how do we achieve this one? So my recommendation is the leaders need to focus on the outcomes. So the measurement, the productivity measurement has to happen in terms of outcomes, in terms of value we are delivering to our customers. So this is, there's a bit of caution there. The outcomes cannot be too high that the teams find it very difficult to connect what they are doing currently. So we need to be very, very careful as leaders in defining the outcomes and then measuring the outcomes. These things should help the developer, engineers, so that they can connect immediately what they are trying to do, and that will help us in achieving effectiveness and then efficiency as well. Moving on to the next recommendation I have around the team. First, let me talk about the composition. I would like to cite a metaphor here. We all know that the concrete material is best known for its strength. If we closely look at the materials used for making the concrete, an interesting observation will come out. The materials used are not of equal strength, shape, and size. So those things are, completely different characteristics and attributes. Similarly, we need to be very conscious when we form teams. We need to have the right blend within a team. So like, for example, the skill levels, expertise level, introverts, extroverts. So you have to be very conscious when you are forming a team. And in fact, this is an opportunity to build internal talent as well. For example, if there is a senior person in a team, and then the goal for him or her, the goal is not, not only to contribute to the great products, but also to create their shadows on an ongoing basis within the team. So it is like creating multipliers, very powerful. The next thing which I want to discuss is the stability. As a leader, make sure the teams are stable for a considerable period, otherwise we lose the power of the teamwork. And next, diversity. Now, cognitive diversity is very powerful. In early stages of my career, there was a thinking that when we form the teams, look for like-minded people. I mean, I think this is not any more relevant in the present context. In fact, in the present, contemporary world, I think we need to look for much more diversity within the team so that, the teams come up with multiple solutions and then we don't go with just for one solution. So we will have more solutions and then we can choose best out of that. The next thing which I wanted to discuss is the autonomy and empowerment. Once you form the teams, you need to provide autonomy to the teams. This is like providing them a free space to operate and make their own decisions. So what are the values we get from this? Things get done faster, sense of accomplishment for the teams, and there is a seriousness in accountability. So, again, as a leader, it is our responsibility to provide autonomy and empowerment to our teams. Next, responsive, impediments removal. So once you have formed the teams and then after providing the autonomy and empowerment, now leadership needs to focus on the impediments these teams are encountering and need to act swiftly in removing them. Otherwise, the leadership will lose the credibility and the team will fall into mediocrity. So which is very, very dangerous. So now I'll move on to so basically these are the four things, the leadership from technology leadership point of view, like functional managers, senior managers, director level people, they need to focus on these things, effectiveness versus efficiency, and the team in terms of stability, and then in terms of composition, and then giving them autonomy and empowerment, and then removing the impediments on a faster and quicker way, which will enable the development flow to go in a smoother way. Now I move on to the leadership from the product point of view. So these are like, product managers, product owners, so those kind of people, under this leadership. So I'll start with the availability. General misconception I've seen is that most product persons think that the team can build products from specifications without collaboration. This is absolutely, it's a big misconception. This needs to change. In the contemporary world where the teams are dealing with immense uncertainty, there is a high demand for intense collaboration. This means the product persons need to be available and accessible to the development teams. These people, are like an end customer for the team for all practical purposes. And if they are not available to the team, that's a big bottleneck. So they need to make sure that they are available and accessible to the product development teams. And when the team is busy with the development of a product which is full of uncertainty, they need someone to help them on a daily basis to clarify their queries or validate their assumptions. Otherwise, you can guess the outcome. So collaboration between the product and technology is very powerful, reduces a lot of churn and wastage. So the next, which I wanted to discuss about the product leadership is early engagement. So the early engagement is about, define the problem. So my premise here is define the problem before you solve. So, this is where again the misconception, or the, wrong approach is that the moment we are ready for a product, we start jumping onto the solution before understanding or defining the problem. So my recommendation, my suggestion would be the product leaders need to engage and collaborate early stages of the flow, at least with two critical roles. The first one is being the user experience designer, and the other one is the architect. So this collaboration, this engagement will definitely help the architects and the user experience designer in determining the problem, what we are trying to solve, and defining the problem, and then designing the problem. So this is really the whole crux of the thing. And then role clarity. Let me come back to the role clarity again. I think, I mean, in terms of role clarity, like product owners and product managers, I mean, they need to set clear expectation in terms of responsibilities. Otherwise, what will happen? I mean, they cannot prioritize their time, and then they will become a bottleneck for the entire flow. And then the team will get confused. Who is going to make this decision? Who is going to help us? I mean, all sorts of dysfunctions will come in. So we need to make sure that the product managers or product owners, who are the product the people, needs to have a clear understanding of their expectations in terms of the expectations, and then their responsibilities. The next thing which I want to talk about is the customer focus. I mean, these persons are responsible for being the customer. These people needs to focus on and look for opportunities when they are working with the teams, and then whenever there is an opportunity, they need to help the team. I mean, understanding the customer focus and why we are building this product. So now I will move on to the architect. Any product ideally should have two visions. I mean, one is the product or business vision, and the other one being the technology architecture vision. So architects are responsible for the technology vision. Technology in terms of frameworks, tools, architecture. Usually teams, many a situation, think that technology vision is for the architects, not for them, and this will lead into unwarranted product quality. So the architects needs to, make sure that they convey the vision, the technology vision, to the team, so that they are comfortable, and then this will lead or guide the entire team developing the product in the right direction. So remember the definition, the internal definition of great product: easy to modify and test. Which is, I mean, having a clear vision will really contribute to the internal, the perception of building great product. Moving on to the emerging architecture. So one thing I need to confess here is I have realized after nearly a couple of decades, my experience in this industry, that today's architecture is tomorrow's legacy. The architects needs to believe that change is inevitable. This is reality, and I have seen umpteen times that great architectures become complex and scary, like monsters, and even, eventually become bottlenecks with age. Then how can we avoid this? The main thing we need to focus on is to keep the architecture relevant all the time. We need to keep not only the functionality from the product point of view, but at the same time, from the technology point of view, we need to keep the architecture relevant to the with the time. So we need to focus on emerging architecture and invest back into architecture all the time. And again, the next thing is the availability. The architects need to make sure that they are available to clarify and to guide and to support the teams whenever these teams are stuck in some kind of a decision making. So that's again very powerful thing. So the availability, so they shouldn't become a bottleneck for the team. The next thing I wanted to focus on, the what I've seen that the architects also focus on the future of the system. Sometimes they think too much around this and try to invest more time upfront I see a few issues with this approach. First, these kind of systems make us to think with constraints, and then which is not encouraging. So we need to believe in, the concept I use here is present future and future future. So let's focus on present future, the immediate future, rather than future future, which is we don't know in this uncertainty whether we're going to have that kind of a architecture or not. So the architects need to make sure that we focus on just to the immediate future and then focus on the emerging architecture rather than going for a upfront design architecture. Moving on to the next role. So this is again the user experience designer. So I'll start with the first. My recommendation is define the problem before you solve it. So I just wanted to, Albert Einstein purportedly said that given an hour to save the world, he would like to spend 55 minutes defining the problem and 5 minutes finding the solution. So this designer will play a major role in defining, designing the problem. So why do we need to do all these things? Customer and the problem we're trying to solve are like oxygen for our product survival. Through their tools and techniques and in collaboration with product owners and product managers and architects, it is possible to prototype the product and experiment with it and see the outcome. So even if the outcome is failure, that's okay. So we can learn from it, and then we can avoid the wastage or the damage to our brand product. Brand of our product. So that's very important. So if you are the user experience designer, make sure that you collaborate with the architect and then the product owners or product managers who are responsible from the business point of view, define the problem, and then only you need to go ahead. And the next thing is pairing. Pairing is again very powerful social practice. We strongly recommend that pairing has to happen between the product guys and then the team as well. Also the team, and also the other thing is what the user experience designer needs to make sure that they are in sync with the development team. So meaning that whatever the features the development team wants to build, only those things the user experience designer needs to work on. So they can't do again a front design of the whole thing and then they deliver. Probably that may not be a right way of doing things. So there should be some kind of a synergy between the user experience and then the dev team. So basically there are three things. So user experience needs, designers need to focus on defining the problem before they solve it, and they need to do the pairing between on demand basis. They need to pair with the product owners or the product managers. Or with the architects or with the team in solving the problem all the time, and then they need to in sync with the development team all the time in terms of the kind of features they are developing. Moving on, the next role I picked is the development engineer role. We need to make sure, if you are a development engineer, you need to make sure that what problem are we solving. At every stage of the development flow, each individual engineer needs to ask this question themselves. If they have trouble getting a satisfied answer, then there is an issue we need to address. So please try to understand the problem before you solve it. And the other thing which I have seen is, engineers usually follow the stereotype techniques, and then they do the same thing in the same way. I just wanted to, quote a phrase: when you do the same thing in the same way repeatedly, don't expect the results to be different. So as an engineer, we need to make sure that we do things differently on a continuous basis. The next thing is in terms of assumptions. Assumptions during the development process, flow, it is natural that engineers, need to make decisions, and there are assumptions associated with these decisions. There is nothing wrong with making assumptions. If you don't know the impact of the assumption, that is a big problem. And if we make such assumptions where we don't know the impact, so that will not give us right results. Hence, every engineer should treat the assumption as a showstopper and need to validate the assumption at the earliest with the right stakeholder. So make sure that, and then whenever you make an assumption, you make it visible, and then make sure you try to validate it at the earliest. And then the next one is be the customer. So nothing beats this. During the verification and validation of, each engineer should feel like a target customer and experience the product. This is another powerful aspect of delivering great products. So be the customer, whether you are designing, whether you are coding, whether you are testing, whether you need testing, so all the time. So focus on the customer, never leave the point of customer. The next thing which I wanted to focus, recommend is the solution visualization. Quickly, I just wanted to share one experience here. We need to, usually what happens, engineers, they do, the coding, design coding, and then they do the build, they do the deployment, and then they test, and then they find a surprise. Instead of doing this, we need to build our, skill visualization without, I used to work for an architect on a client's place in my past experience. He was so powerful that he never, he rarely did, deployment and testing. He's so powerful in his thinking that just by looking at code, and then he used to do the check-in, and then that's it. Which I found it very interesting and very powerful. So as an engineer, if you can develop this visualization skill, which is, awesome. And then remember all the time, the internal definition of building a great product is easy to change and test. Always focus on making the change. How can I make this change easily? And then how can I test this change easily? That's very, very powerful. And the next thing is developing cross-functional skills. The value of all-rounders in at least in cricket. In the recent IPL auctions, you might have seen that. The all-rounders are the people who are paid the maximum. So try to build the cross-functional teams. So don't confine to your skill saying that, oh, I'm a developer, I can only develop. So no, we need to focus on cross-functional skills as a team, and then we need to contribute that so that, as a team, we deliver great products. Moving on to this, quality engineers. So the next role is, so again, their focus is on testing, so the primary goal is to quality. Apart from the other regular goals they have, what they need to focus on, first of all, what they need to do is, they need to, strive and influence the team to achieve the quality right from the beginning of the system, building of that particular feature. So they are responsible to influence the rest of the team to inject the quality right from the beginning, not at the end of the process. So that's very, very important. Make sure that you listen to the conversation, you watch things, what is happening within the team. So you need to influence the team in injecting this quality in every aspect of the product. The next thing is you need to replicate the customer. This is again very, very important. So you need to feel like a customer, and then not only for testing the application but also for the development engineers, you need to be as a customer, and then you need to help the development team as well in replicating the customer. And the next thing is pairing. Again, this is a social practice I have seen, which is very, very powerful. If you as a quality engineer, if you're pairing with a develop engineer, or with other roles in the team, is very, very powerful. I can give you an example. Like, for example, if you have the test cases written for a particular feature development, and then if you can share those those scenarios, the test cases what you have written with the concerned development engineer, and then if you pair with him and then share this, which is very powerful. You're making sure that the design is as per as per the customer needs, and then subsequent the coding and then the unit testing happens as per the needs, and which avoids the last moment surprises. Very powerful. And then the next thing is, as a quality engineer, you need to again in sync with the development team. You cannot be in isolation thinking that, okay, my job is at the end of the regression, so then I will be in action, so till that time I can be doing my own things. No. So I don't think that will help the team in building a great product. You as a quality engineer, you need to be in sync with the development flow as well. So the last role I have is the team. This is I want to summarize certain aspects from the team perspective as well. So the first thing is the swarming. Let me share a beautiful metaphor which is my favorite. Did you ever notice how the honeybees swarm and communicate to make honey? Awesome. This is really, this is such a beautiful natural phenomena. We can learn a lot from this. So my recommendation is, as a team, when you're building a feature, a swarm, and then limit the work in progress, collaborate, and then move on. So focus on few things, swarm, and then finish and move on. So that's a very, very powerful aspect. So unfortunately, what I'm seeing is people within the team, they create sub-teams, and then you work on this feature, you work on this feature, and then there is no collaboration, there's no spanning happening. I don't think, you can create great product with that kind of approach. So as a team, teamwork is very, very powerful. So let's try to, swarm and then try to deliver great products. Next thing is the courage. The decision making is very key aspect which makes the development flow slow or fast. The teams need to be courageous to make bold decisions, to make the flow smooth. Leadership needs to enable this. So, sometimes, you may think that, oh, if I say this one, what my manager is going to say? So that's what I said in the, even for the managers, I recommend that they need to enable the autonomy and then empowerment. So then only the teams can make courageous, decision making. Otherwise, it is very difficult to do so. The next thing is, as a team, you need to automate your frustrations. If there is a possibility that you can automate them, try to optimize that and try to optimize that. So this is again which will make you systems which you can change easily and test easily. So never forget to automate any frustration. And the last thing I wanted to talk about the team is persistency in resolving the systemic impediments. So there is a saying which I wanted to share here. There is a attitude in the leadership saying that there is an elephant in the room, but no one wants to recognize. So when a development team goes to the approaches to leadership team and then say, hey, we have this problem, and they say, oh yeah, we know this, we've been there, this has been there for years, for a long time, so we have to live with this. Can you work on alternative? No, this kind of culture, we cannot, this kind of culture is not conducive to build great products. So So you need to keep your persistency and patience and to chase the leadership in removing the impediments. So don't give up. Keep your, things. So I want to summarize this whole thing again in two things. Be the customer. Don't leave the why. Why am I doing this? Why am I designing this? What am I solving? What problem am I solving? Who is my customer? What are their needs are? So that's the key thing again. The next thing is that's the external aspect of the building great product, and the next one is, as I said, the internal aspects of building a system which is easy to change and test. So focus on making the system very simple, very easy to change and test. So with this, I'm sure that if you can bring in these tiny things, all these things which I have mentioned so far, are which you can practice. You don't have to have a big kind of rocket science to adopt these things. These are tiny behavioral changes or principles or practices which you can adopt at any, with easy. And I have seen teams, which have adopted these things have really created great products. So with this, I thank a million to all the audience who patiently listened to my conversation and my talk. So now let's, I know that we have only left out with 8 minutes of time. So if, Deepika, if we have any questions, so I'm ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheikh. Thanks for the insightful presentation. I would request you to quickly take up the questions now. I would please read them out and their answers so that all our users may listen to your commendable insights.
Okay. So the first question is, in the role clarity, if some people are not proactive, whom to approach at the time? So what I would recommend is, who are the stakeholders? So that plays the as a team. First of all, between the product team and the technology team. So there should be some kind of a team agreements. So the team agreements are very, very powerful tool which will help you to solve, to defining the role clarities. So what I would recommend when you start a feature in the beginning, so sit together with all the key stakeholders, the technology leadership, the product leadership, the architects, the team leads, and then involve everyone and then say, hey guys, we're going to build this product, okay? So to make this product, what we need to have is we need to have a kind of a team agreements for a smoother execution, disciplined execution of this product. So what I would recommend is to use the team agreements tool effectively, and then that will help you to solve some of the problems around the role clarity. So the next question is related to, again, behavior. How do you handle people who are egoistic about their work, even when they are working in a team? So this again, I have seen people. This is not a surprise to me. I've seen, tons of people with this kind of, this kind of attitude. So what we need to do is, we need to find out why this person is behaving this way. What are the root causes? So there could be multiple reasons, root causes for this. One could be, it could be because of his natural behavior. So which, if it is a natural behavior, certainly we cannot to anything. I mean, which is if it is a natural behavior, it is very difficult to change. If it is something because of like a symptom of some other reason, maybe if you can find out that reason, that will help you to solve. I mean, to influence these kind of people to work within a team. So you need to find out whether this behavior is because of his nature or her nature, or is it something he or she are behaving because of some other reason. So if it is from the if it is due to the other reasons, then I mean I think you can try to influence him, try to mentor him to influence. If it is from nature's point, I mean if it is naturally coming from his, then it is a really kind of a tough task to change any behavior. So the next question is, what do you mean by automating current frustrations? Let's say, for example, I can give you an example. Let's say I'm doing a build and deploy, and when I'm deploying the thing, I mean the deployment is breaking. I'm not getting any exception there, so I don't know the reason. So the frustration is, yes, I'm making the build is successful, but I'm trying to deploy and then deployment is failing. So it's taking time, and at the end of the time, then I'm saying, oh, the deployment is failed. So now you can't leave that problem there. So that's a frustration. So definitely you will come up with some kind of an alternative there, and then you will go ahead definitely. But at the same time, what you need to do is you need to automate that frustration, so that when you encounter the same problem again, you should not face the same problem again. So that's the key thing. If the teams have this kind of an approach, whenever they see some kind of a frustration, they need to automate. So that's again a very powerful thing. What are the approaches? The next question is, what are the approaches to remove the impediments? One best way you can do is create a visual, big visible charts. So I can give you an example. Let's say during the last couple of weeks of time, your team has wasted, let's say, 10 hours of time because of some non-availability of some stage or something. So convert that 10 hours into dollars, and then put it on the chart of the board where all your stakeholders can see. There is a good visibility across the stakeholders, and then say, my team has wasted $10,000 in last couple of weeks for working on so and so thing. I mean, this is really a powerful aspect when you convert your impediments in a language in which the stakeholder who can solve your impediment can understand. I mean, nothing beats it. So try to put your impediment in a language in which your stakeholder can understand. So maybe you can try that. So let me take another, last question. In architecture side, it was mentioned that to focus on the current feature instead of future. How many sprints the duration are we talking about it? So I can give you an example. Let's say, I can give you an example. Let's say you are trying to migrate a legacy functionality into a new technology or new stack. Okay. So what you need to have here is you need to have a bigger, the architecture framework in place, but that's your technology vision. But at the same time, you are focused for the current, the feature what you are building. The feature what you are building is maybe for the current release. Maybe if you are talking in terms of sprints, or if you are talking in terms of weeks, or maybe 4 iterations, 3 to 4 iterations of couple of weeks. Maybe that is around 8 weeks is a good time. 8 to 10 weeks is a good time. to think about, and then just focus on the architectural needs of the product you are trying to build at that particular moment, keeping the vision at the same time. So otherwise what will happen, your vision is in pointing to one direction, but you are trying to build the product in different directions, so which is very dangerous. So you need to make sure that your current, the product and architecture is aligned to the the vision of the whole thing. So there is one more question. Let me take it quickly. I think, it's not a question actually. Interesting session, very good points, experience sharing. All right, so I'm glad that you find it interesting. So Deepika, I'm done.
Ashik, there are a few more questions. Do you want to take them up? You can take up a few more questions if you want.
Okay, that's good. What is the best team management tool in market for collaboration? This is, a question. There are many number of, tools are there. Unless knowing your context and your needs, it would be very difficult for me to recommend you any tool on this. So I had to move ahead to the next question. How to get the cooperation from country product owner to get features for baseline feature? I'm sorry, I'm not getting. So, my understanding from this question is, how do we collaborate? How do we involve our product owner with the team in getting the features? So, it is asked by Joseph Streven. I didn't get them in, but what I think he's trying to ask is, how do we involve product owner into the in collaborating with the team? So I think I have seen these kind of things in my experience that here when a product owner gives you the product features and then he or she is not involving in that, collaborating with the team, so there's a problem. As I said in my dysfunctions, one of the dysfunctions that there is no role clarity, and then the root cause for that is usually what happens, these product guys are too busy with juggling with too many things. So we need to make sure that setting back, going back to the first question which I answered in terms of setting the team, team agreements, which is very, very powerful in collaborating with the product, country, who are the product owner. So there is another approach also you can do is you need to highlight the damage happening to the team or the wastage the team is incurring or facing due to his non-availability, due to his or her collaboration with the team. So try to highlight and make visible those facts that because of non-function of this thing, and these are the consequences. So can you help us? Can you partner with us? So maybe that kind of approach can help you to bring in collaboration. Next question. How to consolidate approach multi-country requirements to make generic baseline feature in product. So even though this is not related to this topic, but I just wanted to quickly try to answer this question, is what you need to do is you need to come up with a kind of a roadmap based on certain themes. So you need to come up with a roadmap which consists of your themes, different theme 1, theme 2, theme 3. And then what you need to do is, out of these themes, which are the part of the core product features and which are the things which are specific for different countries. So try to build the prioritize the core product first, and then so that would be the foundation for you, and then on top of that, and then rolling out this feature to this country or customizing this product to this country. I mean, that can be your next theme. So that way you can have a consolidated approach when you are delivering products in multiple countries. Maybe that's the approach, one approach you can adopt. So Deepika, I think most of the questions I'm done.
Sure. Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you so much. It was indeed a great session. I'm really thankful to all our participants also for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on techgeek.com very soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.